Hello and welcome to Nazgul's Boomkin DPS guide. Boomkin DPS is something that most people will understand fairly quickly, and is one of the most fun DPS class/spec choices in World of Warcraft. Now let's get started. First off, we'll be going over the spec. You will want to start off by choosing the spec Balance. You will then maximize points into Nature's Grace, Starlight's Wrath, Nature's Majesty, Balance of Power, Genesis, Euphoria, Solar Beam, Shooting Stars, Moonkin Form, Owlkin Frenzy, Force of Nature, Dream State, Sunfire, Earth and Moon, Lunar Shower, and Starfall. In the Feral tree, you will put 3 points into Heart of the Wild, 2 into Blessing of the Groove, and 2 into Nature Shapeshifter. And finally, you will put 1 point into Master Shapeshifter. This leaves you with 1 point to put in Fungal Growth, or 1 point into Moonglow. They both depend on your personal preference. Once we have that done, we will now be moving into the Boomkin glyphs, the Prime, Major, and Minor glyphs. There are 5 possible Prime glyphs a Boomkin can use. The 2 required Prime glyphs for a Boomkin are Glyph of Moonfire and Glyph of Insect Swarm. These 2 provide the biggest DPS buff. And for your final Prime glyph slot, you will either use Glyph of Starfire, Glyph of Star Surge, or Glyph of Wrath. Glyph of Starfire is a pure single target Starfire buff. Glyph of Star Surge is a AoE type of glyph, because it reduces the cooldown of your Starfall each time it deals damage. The Glyph of Wrath is most likely going to be used if you cannot make advantage of either of the 2 other glyphs. And for your major glyphs, you will be using Glyph of Starfall, Glyph of Rebirth, and Glyph of Innervate. Glyph of Starfall reduces the cooldown of Starfall. Glyph of Rebirth increases the amount of health gained when revived by a druid, and Glyph of Innervate increases the mana gained by Innervate. And for your minor glyphs, it is all up to you. None of them are significant in DPS. And for your stat priority, it will go in this order: Intellect, Spirit or Hidden till capped, Haste, Mastery, and finally Critical Strike. You will be gemming in all red sockets Brilliant Inferno Ruby. You will also be gemming the Brilliant Inferno Ruby in all sockets where the socket bonus is worse than 20 Intellect. If the socket bonus is greater than 20 Intellect, you will be gemming for blue sockets a Purified Demon's Eye, for yellow a Reckless Ember Topaz, and in your meta socket you will be gemming a Burning Shadow Spirit Diamond. Now time for the most important part, the rotation. You will begin by placing 3 wild mushrooms on your target. You will then cast Force of Nature, Moonfire, Insect Swarm, Wrath, and then Star Surge. You will then cast Wrath until your Lunar Eclipse. Once you hit your Lunar Eclipse, you will pop all of your cooldowns and cast Starfire. You will cast Starfire until you hit your Solar Eclipse. However, while casting Starfire, you need to keep up your Moonfire and Insect Swarm at all times. You must also cast Star Surge on cooldown. Occasionally, you will get a buff called Shooting Stars where the cooldown on Star Surge is reset, and it is instant. You will want to immediately cast it. Now, once you get your Solar Eclipse, you will cast Wrath instead of Starfire, and then you will keep your dots up. From that point, once you get a Lunar Eclipse, and the cycle repeats itself, and that is the Boomkin rotation. Now, I would like to thank you for watching my Boomkin DPS guide. If you have any questions about this guide, or anything I discussed in this guide, please send me a whisper on Nazgul or Gullah on the Lothar server. Now, thank you for watching. I hope you all have a fun day DPSing as your Moonkin.